All right, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our friends gathered here in the Murray Davis Courtyard at Temple Beth Abraham. Thank you for being here. A smaller crowd today. There's a little wind going, but I didn't gift you the heaters tonight. I figured I know you're maybe slightly more comfortable. It's not worth the price of the environment because it's not that cold. And if you're watching at home, I hope our internet's working well this week. We can only pray. That's what we're doing here. That's what we do here. but that prayer is often in vain. All right. We are going to start by letting the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad. Yismechu hashamayim. So that will be on page 6. Page 6. And remember, clap or instead of sing. You can sing if I can't hear you, or your neighbor can't hear you, I should say. So mutter under your mask, but not audibly. No projecting. That's kind of the law. But we are going to let the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad, and you clap instead of singing. So for Rumbu, key, like that. You'll get it. So far, good internet, Josh. You want to? Okay, good to know. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo. All right, we are going to go to page 9. Mizmor shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, ki niflaot asa. Hoshia lo yemino, uzro hakodsho. Ay odi Adonai Yeshuato, le'enei hagayim. Gila tzikato, zachar chasto ve'emunato levei Yisrael. Ra'u chol afsei aretz et Yeshuat Eloheinu. Hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz, pitzchu ve'ranenu ve'zameru. Zamru l'Adonai v'chinor ve'kol zimra. בחצוצרות וקול שופר, הריעו לפני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבה, נהרות ימחאו כף, יחד הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני קיווה, לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תבל, בצדק ועמים במישרים. היי ניי 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 ניי. יי ניי 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 ניי. יי ניי 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 ניי. יי ניי 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 ניי. Page 12. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו lehar kodsho. All right, we will now turn to page 13. Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, Avul Adonai bnei Elim, Avul Adonai, Kavod va'os, ay, Avul Adonai, Kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, ay, Kol Adonai ve'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vayshaber Adonai et azeh halvanon, vayarkirem kemo egel levanon ve'esirion, kemo ven re'emim, ay, Kol Adonai Hotzev lavot esh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yechol el ayalot, vayechesof ye'arot, uvechalot kulo omer kavod, ay, Adonai lama buyashava yishev, Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Hey, ay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, nay, yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 yay, 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 nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 yay, nay, 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 nay. All right. Lecha Dodi, page 15. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, V'shemo tiferet v'lit hilal la 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 la, Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki imekor ha-beracha me-rosh mi-kedem nesucha. Zov ma'aseh v'makshavat chila-la-la-la-la, Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Bottom of 17, Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, Et Adonai taritzi, Al yarish ben partzi, V'nismecha v'nagila la 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 la, Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, Panei Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the entrance, welcoming our beautiful Shabbat bride, Henny. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam v'simcha u'v'tzola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi kala, Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei panei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala, Panei panei Shabbat nekavela. And we say to any mourners in our midst, may God comfort you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We may be seated. And we turn to Psalm 92 for Shabbat on page 19. And Henny did have impeccable timing here, during the Shabbat bride entrance. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, lezamer leshimcha elyon, lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve'emunatcha balelot, alei asor ve'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. We continue silently, pages 19 and 20. Tzadik tamar yifrach, kerez balvanon yisgeh, shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot, Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva. Deshenim v'ra'ananim yehu le'agid, ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo. I want to point out that that means the righteous shall flourish like a palm tree. There's a plaque with that on it right here in this beautiful courtyard in honor of Richard and Naomi Applebaum and East Bay Landscaping, and that's the psalm it's based on. They're here tonight enjoying the beautiful fruits of your labor. And so thank you, literally and figuratively. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all you've done for this incredible courtyard. All right, we're on page 21. Adonai malach geot lavesh, lavesh Adonai osita zarafti kon tevel baltimot, nachon kisachab me'as mlamata, nasu nerot Adonai, nasu nerot kolam, yisu nerot toch yam. Mi kolod mahim, mahim rabim adirim, mishpereyam, Adir bamarom Adonai, Erotecha ne'emnu meod, Levetecha nava Kodesh Adonai, Leorech yamim. All right, we rise for the formal call to prayer, the Baruch Hu, page 22. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. We may be seated. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro mari varavim. V'rayom v'layla golel mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. V'vi laila, mavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch, aleinu le'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ari v'aravim. Page 24. And I think everyone is here, Marlene, if you want to sit down. Oh, right, okay, right, sorry, we are missing one more. Thank you, you're right. ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha avita Amcha avita Torah u'mitzvot Ukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadita Otanu limadita Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu Kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha V'nismak b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem negeyomam v'layla Negeyomam v'layla Ve'vatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch Ata Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael. We'll be on page 25 for the Shema. Marlene, if you could do me one more favor, just make sure Justin's at the gate or that the gate is open in case she's having trouble with the code and she's actually here. That would be great. Did that happen with Henny? It's open. Okay, good. All right, good to know. Still always worth checking again. Page 25, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol meodecha, ve'hayu advarim ha'eleh, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta ba'am, v'shiftecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shokbecha, uv'kumecha, uv'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha v'yam. Continue silently, pages 27 through 29. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim lehechem ani, Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem emet. Adonai Elohechem emet. I'm on page 32. Malchutom ratzon klebelehem, Moshe v'nei Yisrael chanashira b'simcha rabba, v'amru chulam. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי. ונאמר כבנת יעקב, גדול חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. פרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. And we rise now for Vashamru. Good clapping song. You might even want to leave your books on your chairs, but it's up to you. Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. As we remain standing for the Chatzi Kaddish, יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב אמרו, אמן. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam Le'almei Almaya Yitbarach, Yitbarach Vishtabach, Vipar Vimram Vitnaseh, Vitadar Vitale Vitalal, Shemei Kutsha Berichu, Le'la Min Kol Berchata Veshirata, Tushpechata V'nechemata, Damiran Bialma, Veimeru, Amen. Okay, private Amidah, pages 37 through 48. The truth is, you don't have the full Amidah in this Siddur tonight because it is Passover, so you don't actually have the festival Amidah adding Shabbat. What you do have is the Shabbat Amidah adding one paragraph for the festival. That's not technically correct. We're not in Chol HaMoed, but that's all we got in this book. So do that. If you happen to have a Sim Shalom at home, do the festival Amidah. As Jacqueline, one of our congregants, said, this part is kind of like a choose your own adventure in prayer. It is, I admit it. So, but anyway, 37 through 48 do add at least the special passage for Chol HaMoed, which is on 44. Avadim hayinu hayinu. Ata b'nei chorin b'nei chorin. Avadim hayinu. Ata b'nei chorin. Avadim hayinu. Ata b'nei chorin. Ose shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Page 53. Yikra v'yikra shmei rabbah v'amadi v'rachirutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayechon Beit Yisrael b'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yahei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam ulal me'omaya Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yibar v'imram v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kutsha b'richu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiram b'yama v'imeru amen. Tikabal tzlot tahon v'oton l'chol Yisrael kodam avahon divishmaya v'imeru amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yeshvei tevel v'imeru amen. President time. We're up to Rutherford B. Hayes and his relationship to the Jewish community. I know that doesn't sound very exciting, although in a negative way, his election may have been the most exciting in the history of our country, although that's not what we're here to talk about, but we will talk about it anyway. So Rutherford B. Hayes, the 19th president, born in Ohio, baptized Presbyterian, later attended Episcopal churches, Methodist churches. He was very religious. And in the White House, he instituted nightly hymn sing-alongs. Seriously. He also did morning prayers. He was also on the moralistic side of religion. He banned tobacco, alcohol, and profanity, all from the White House. He got to be president because he was an effective military leader, a congressman, and an effective governor of Ohio. He was an incredibly honest, upstanding, moral guy, which is ironic in a negative way because he was part of the most controversial and probably corrupt election in the history of the United States with lots of lasting damage. Not only did he lose the popular vote, he lost the electoral vote to Samuel Tilden by 184 to 165. But there was a third candidate, don't remember who it was, and that wasn't a majority, so it went back to Congress. There was voter suppression of black Americans in many key states, so the election was challenged. Hayes was handed, even though he was the one who lost, he, as the Republican candidate from the North, was handed the election by a special commission when he promised to withdraw troops from the South, thus ending Reconstruction, beginning what we know as Jim Crow. There were other exchanges in this too. There were projects, infrastructure projects that were promised to the South, and Democratic appointments, even though it was a Republican administration. And once again, I will repeat this: Republican generally, anti-slavery; Democrat pro-slavery at that time in our country's history. So if I confused you, you have to understand that part of it. But in any case, the compromise with the Republican candidate, the anti-slavery candidate, getting into office, but promising to withdraw the troops from the South, which happened, thus really intensifying Jim Crow. What was his relationship to the Jewish community? Well, the same Jewish leaders who were close to Grant were also close to Hayes. Benjamin Franklin Pashado, from Cleveland, former president of B'nai B'rith, he campaigned for Hayes. He was the Romanian consul general under Grant. Hayes appointed him to be the consul of St. Petersburg, but Russia nixed it
because he had in speeches expressed anti-Tsarist sentiment when he was the consul of Romania. So instead, he became the U.S. consul to Lyon, France, which was not a bad assignment. Simon Wolf, who was a Washington, D.C. lawyer, great Jewish communal leader, who had helped both Lincoln and Grant. Grant had appointed him the recorder of Washington, D.C. He also campaigned for Hayes, but instead of being appointed to a greater position, which he expected under Hayes, he was actually made to resign from his position as recorder. Why? Because Simon Wolf was opposed to the temperance movement, which the anti-drinking movement, which Hayes was a big proponent of. Why was he opposed to it? Because he was a part of several German drinking clubs, and he did not, German-American social clubs they're called, but there was a lot of drinking that took place in these things, and he did not want it to happen. He was very bitter about this, Simon Wolf. He wrote to Garfield, "I did everything possible to have you elected, and I find it perfectly illogical that I should be punished. For no doubt, had I opposed you, I would probably have been elected or appointed to the cabinet," because that's what happened with the compromise and all that stuff. All his opposition became appointed in that corrupt election thing. We're going to hear from Wolf again next week when we do James Garfield. We're not done with him. In any case, when his term ended, he spent the decade after his presidency back in Ohio, working to support Republican candidates, helping out with charities, and as a trustee of the Ohio State University. So thus benefiting my family personally in some way, shape, or form. My oldest son still attends there. So he actually was probably a good, honest man, but he was a part of a corrupt compromise that led to significantly lasting damage in our country's history. That's how I'd evaluate him. But when it comes to the Jewish community, it was mixed. Actually, I forgot one very important thing. Because of his religious sympathy, that actually made him or caused him to guarantee the right of federal civil servants to observe their Sabbath, and that included Jews. He once intervened in a job appointment to the Department of the Interior for a Sabbath-observant Jew, who his boss wanted to fire him. He said anyone who would rather forego a job than violate a Sabbath was a good citizen and therefore worthy of the appointment. So he did do that for the Jewish community too. So like many of us, he has a mixed record because we're human. Anyway, that's Rutherford B. Hayes for the night. I'm having a lot of fun with these presidents, actually, and the more obscure, the more fun. All right. It's time to count the Omer. All right. Last night was the 5th night of the Omer. We're going to begin the next night right now. We're going to rise for this. We turn to page 273. And I say the blessing in the middle of the page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom shishi yamin la'omer. Today is the 6th day of the Omer. And for those who don't know, if you're watching, what is the counting of the Omer? It is the period between Passover and Shavuot, 49 days, where we count them down. In ancient Israel, or pre-Israel actually, the slaves had been freed from Egypt, but they hadn't yet received the Torah. So there's a wandering quality to their life. They don't know what to do. They're aimless until they get the Torah. That's what we're doing. We're counting towards Shavuot. It's also an ancient time for farmers too. So we're counting those days down. Remain standing for the Aleinu, page 63. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula li'otzer v'reshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, ve'gohor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shehu note shamayim ve'yosfer aretz, umoshev yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, ushchinat uzo, ve'gov emiro mi'im, hu Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu efes zulato, kakatu betorato, ve'dat hayom ve'hashivota, el levavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim, Bashamayim mima'al, v'ha'aretz itachat einod. Eino no kenikaven. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. May be seated as we lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends whose yahrzeits we observe during the coming week, thinking especially tonight of Alvin Alper, Rose Applebaum, Joseph Banks, Leon Benjamin, Sidney Bernstein, Pavel Blumenkrantz, Claire Broth, Harry Ben David, Ezekiel DeKoven, Judith Diamant, Barbara Miriam Engel, Shlomo Fixler, Lily Fedora Gelfand, Maurice Glasser, Abraham Grossman, Shelley Jane Raskin-Lipton, Aaron Noodler, Nancy Quitman, Rosalie Rogers, Moses Rinsky, Razel Rinsky, Fagel Scheinerman, Mordecai Scheinerman, Robert Shapiro, Annie Silver, Elsie Searle, Herman Weissman, Bob Weiss. We are in the Shloshim for Eleanor Goldberg, the mother of Joel Goldberg. Our memories are with them. We ask all who are in mourning, observing Yortzeit, and anyone else who would choose to do so to join me in the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach Yerutei ve'amlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayechol Beit Yisrael Bagala uv'izman kari v'imeru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Lalmei Almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach Yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekutzra Barichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran v'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom bimroma Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Zichronam livracha, may the memory of the people that you're thinking of tonight be a blessing to you always. And let us say Amen. All right, some announcements. Thank you to our live streamers, Josh Mailman and Avi Paulson, working tonight, learning to do this, so Josh isn't the only one doing all this stuff. Thank you. Thank you to our greeters, Marlene Dines and Deborah Hoffman-Wade. Tomorrow, services streamed from the sanctuary at 9:30. Ruby Sadikman will be reading the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea. On Sunday, there is also live services, the 8th day of Passover. There is Yizkor that morning, and there's Hallel, there's a whole bunch of things. And just so you know, it'll be longer than an hour because it's by invitation only. We're experimenting, and there will be a minyan present inside that morning, and so there may be some delays, weird stuff I'm doing with the cameras and stations, all that stuff, but we will have a minyan. It'll be closer to 2 hours. Yizkor will probably be, my guess is 10:30, but it's just a guess. That night, Passover ends. Time to get your Semi-Freddy's sour batards. At least that's what we do in my house. So, well, not time to get them yet, but time to get them on Sunday. Pizza, burritos, pasta, whatever you're going to be having on Sunday night. A week from tomorrow, Akash Bornstein becomes bar mitzvah. That should be fun. All right, we're going to close with a song not in the book, but it's not a pop song or a country song. It is from the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, that is traditionally read on the Shabbat during Pesach, which is tomorrow, even though it is actually the end of Pesach. It will be read, that's also tomorrow, at least part of it. And so we're going to be doing the most famous song, Dodi Li, found on lots of chuppahs, walked down the aisle to by many brides as well. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine.
דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. מי זאת עולה מן המדבר? מי זאת עולה? מי זאת עולה מן המדבר? מי זאת עולה? דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. מכותרת מור מכותרת מור ומזולה. מכותרת מור ליבבתיני אחותי כלה, אחותי כלה. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא הרואה בשושנים. Shabbat Shalom. And please be safe and careful out there.